So here are some of the services that we support. So some of them come from A-Star facilities, while some of them come from the private companies that RSC partnered. So MP Biomedicals is one such company that is our partner. So please take note of this post-webinar survey QR code. Do scan first. We will need your help towards the end of the webinar to provide us with your feedback on how we can further improvise and what other topics that we can share with you in future. So here are some of our upcoming events. Next, we have Kopi and C Talk with Fisher Scientific. They'll be sharing with us on their insights on their brands and equipment. So do look out for the EDM that will be coming up on Kopi and C Talk with Fisher. Next, we will have Jen's group with us again, focusing on proprietary and customized antibody generation for therapeutics, diagnostics, and basic research applications. So do stay tuned for their publicity as well as more information to come up. So that is the end of our RSC introduction. So moving on to MP Biomedicals, Beng Kuan is the Director of Sales and Marketing of Asia Pacific region, and he has more than 20 years experience working in life science companies. So now, let me hand over to Beng Kuan to share with us more on his take on product success. So do give us a few moments for the switch. Hi, Beng Kuan.
Hi, thank you. Let me just share my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Not yet. Let's give it a while.
Okay. Let's try again.
Yeah, we can see our screen.
Okay. All right. Thank you again, RIC and A-Star, for having me, and really appreciate to be having this opportunity to speak on your platform. Today, I'll be talking about the commercialization, key steps to your product success. As objectives, I'll be covering the following, which is firstly, the key steps to maximize your chances to successfully commercialize your product. And then I will talk about the success factors and common problems in commercialization. Before I start, maybe just would like to learn from all of you or understand you, my audience. What is the industry and research area that you are working in? I will do this with Menti Media. So if you just give me a moment. Can you, okay. So you can see my screen, right? So just share with me by going to www.menti.com and then key in the code, and you will be able to share with me online what is your industry and research areas. So please take a moment to just enter your industry and research areas. Okay. Anybody else? I think I see the word biotechnology, bioinformatics, thank you. Healthcare research. Okay. So coming fast and furious, good. Okay, NGS, yep. Same, okay, microbiology. Okay, medical technology, business development. I see also drug screening, thank you. Engineering. So all very related areas, right? Even 3D printing. Yeah. So, but mainly in the life science area. Good. Okay, right, diagnostic. Okay, I will just call maybe 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now just on the next screen, maybe also one word or two, just describe your role or department. Same for the same code, just share with me your role and department. Okay, thank you, scientists. Business development, research. Okay, yeah, business area. Okay, business development. Okay, and in the area of research, business. Okay, we have a CEO as well. Thank you. Project managers. Okay. All right. Then I'll just, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I have one more question left, which is, just to understand the experience and familiarity of my audience here with regards to commercialization. So maybe you will tell me what do you think are the key factors or challenges to commercial success? So you can enter in 1 word, 2 words, or even a phrase. Thank you. Customer base. Okay, product market fit. Good. Good products. Thank you. Innovative products, identify gaps. Competitive prices. Yes. Okay, I see clinician supports. Yes, very much important. Market requirements. Very good. Identify gaps. Okay. Outreach, innovations, scaling, relevance. Okay, so you can see that, a lot of you are talking about innovative products. All right, and the next 2 top factors that came up here is actually finding and identifying gaps. So which is more important? Is it innovation or is it commercialization? So let's see. All right, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you all. Right, so I will just start my presentation. Okay, hang on, just hang on. Let me switch screen. Okay, I know it's coming in, but it's still okay. I'll just switch screen now. Okay, so I will just start my presentation by just referring to this quote. This is from Dr. Robert Cooper, who is the founder of Product Development Institute, PDI, and also the developer of a commercialization model called the stage gate model. So he said that only 1 out of 4 development projects succeed commercially, and 1/3 of all new product launches fail. So why is it that so many of these products or even launches fail? Let's talk about innovation and commercialization. Now, the innovation is defined as a new idea, method, or product, and commercialization is to manage on a business basis for profit. Which is more important? Is it innovation or is it commercialization? The answer is actually both of them. But what is more important is the link between the two, is in terms of values. The values, what value are talking about? The values that we bring to the market, to the customers. And if it's of the right value, the market or the customers will buy. And they buy for you, they will generate revenues and profit for the companies. And that will make sure, that will ensure profitability and sustainability for the business, which is very important as well. So in other words, we're talking about innovation that makes money will last. And if you look at some of the statistics here, when we ask the questions, what are the top reasons why startups or even developments fails? One of the thing is the topmost reason is actually no market needs. And this has something to do with commercialization, which is about customer needs. That means some of you have mentioned a moment ago is identifying gaps. So here is about needs, which is the same. And then if you talk about innovations, you're talking about products. That means having good products. But if you look at this list here, products are generally is identified as a top reasons for why most of the startups or development fail. Another way to look at the importance of commercialization is when you think about launching new products. Now, more than 25% of total revenues and profits actually come from launch of new products, which is why many companies, are focused on the efforts, to develop new products so as to grow the company. for long-term sustainability. And here we're talking about commercialization as well. We are talking in terms of launch success and new revenue and profit. So therein lies, the two reasons why commercialization is important, just as important as innovation, if not more important. So with that, what are the key steps to commercialization? GoSee's model, which is one of the earlier models of commercialization, actually already integrates, the commercial aspects or commercial elements into the product development. But here he talks about the technical, also talk about the market as well as the business elements. And these are not, and the business element and the commercial element or the market element are not something that was done only at the end, but it was actually integrated upfront from the beginning, and then it runs concurrently with the product development or the technical development side. If you look at the typical institutional model, commercial model, it is the same. You start with the research of the products, of the applications, of the technology, and then you look into the business side of it, which is in terms of the market potential, the differentiation, and you talk about the competition. You think about the proposition, the value proposition that you want to define, and then what is the business model, and then finally you develop the business plans, and then you funnel it into the investment stage. And if you look at how the A-star model is structured, it's very much in line with the institutional process. So you have the industry clusters that look into teams that are strategized, to align to the various industry areas that we want to focus in. We have market intel as well to offer the intelligence, help and support, and also IP, intellectual properties. And we have enablers, as mentioned, I think, to support this process. And then we also have funding as well as national programs, to support the various industry areas. So we are currently a partner with the Diagnostic Development Hub, which is DXD. If you look at our commercialization process, we kind of follow the same steps as well. So we have the steps which starting from idea discovery and screening, going into concept testing, business case, and then to development testing, and then finally product launch. Really, the essence of these steps, or the importance of these steps, is very much into the first three steps here. And I will tell you more why. And to discuss this, I will talk about three areas, which is what are the deliverables with regards to each steps, and then what is the task involved, and what is the team, that will help to work the steps. So starting with the idea discovery and screening, here we are looking at ideas with commercial potential and customer values. The only ideas and with commercial potential and customer only gets to be funneled further. And we do this through preliminary assessments of the market, technical, and business side. And we do this with a very small core team, of the technical people as well, which is the R&D and the marketing people. And then we go into concept test and business case. This is the most important steps before we push it down to the development. Here is where we clearly define what is the target market, the product concept and benefits, and what is the business justification for it. We're talking about profitability. We're talking about the positioning, market positioning, whether it has market differentiation. And we also talk about the ability to scale up, which is very important to understand from the beginning. And then we go into detailed planning of action, and that which also includes the resource and time needed. And here, the task involved is actually very important, is this market research phase, which we talk about, which we try to research on the user needs and wants, for the ideal products, the competitive analysis, and also we do concept tests to find out whether is there any intention to buy for the products. And it is also involved detailed analysis of the technical, production, marketing, financials, and the business. And of course, not forgetting the regulatory as well. If your product is in a highly regulated environment. And of course, as part of innovation management, we also talk about the patent. And here involve a bigger team, a core team of marketing, technical, and manufacturing. And when this products screen through and clear clear the process and has a solid business case, you will then be funneled into development stage. This is where you will develop the actual product with actual design. And before that, you will develop a prototype and the samples, and you will do in-house and customer testings. And then you also look into the manufacturing process and the requirements, which is also being met. And at this early stage, yes, at this early stage, we should be looking into marketing launch planning as well. And this is where we will first establish the project team. It's a cross-functional team involving marketing, technical, manufacturing, QA, sales, purchasing, and finance. And when the product is developed, you then push it down to testing and validation. This is where you fully test the product, not just for its value, but also look into production process and also getting it ready for commercialization. The task involved is basically verification and validation of the products with extensive in-depth research, and that will involve product testing as well as customer field trials. And that's where we get surveys and feedback, and then we keep it's an iteration process where we keep improving on the products until it satisfies our customers. And then we do a pilot production run. And of course, we make regulatory preparation here as well. And we also test the marketing as well as do some trial selling. And here is the same cross-functional product team that works this stage. And finally, you go into the product launch phase. This is where the full commercialization of the product happens. And this means production and commercial selling. And as part of the task, we're talking about implementation of the marketing launch plan, the production plan, and not forgetting that we have post-launch activities that includes monitoring for feedbacks from the customers and commercial operation, and then make necessary adjustments to improve on the launch. And here we add commercialization team looking into sales, channels, and operations. And the same project teams will remain accountable for this launch as well. So here is the full picture on the key steps of commercialization. But having understood the key steps of commercialization, is this the only thing that that will help you? I think what I want to do and share with you now is to talk about the 10 critical success factors to maximize your chance for commercial success. In other words, what do winners do differently? The top success factors, okay, that is to be different and to be clear in your choice. So firstly, we talk about how you seek clear, differentiated and superior products. Whatever products you develop, it has to have a unique customer benefits and superior values, and try to avoid a me too situation. And then, like I said, as part of the homework, you have to analyze the market well, understand the customer well, because too many products actually move from idea stage to development stage with little or no upfront homework. It's basically rushing through the analysis phase and going straight to development. This has resulted in many failures in the past. So devote time and resource to ensure that you have a solid business case before you push it through to development. And this means thorough market and competitive analysis, understanding your customer needs and wants, financial business analysis, as well as concept testing and feasibility assessment. And then you have to understand your customers. Here we're talking about building in the voice of the customers. So you listen to the customers, and this has to start from the beginning, right? Beginning from the screening stage to the concept testing stage, where you seriously you seek the feedback from the customers to understand their needs, and also to ensure that the products are relevant to them. And then when you plan your marketing, you make sure that your marketing is customer focused. And then you talk about demanding sharp and clear product definition very early in the game. Here is we're talking about defining the product before development, because if you don't do that, your chances of success is very low, and worse, you may delay the time to market. So make this your rule before you move the product into the development stage, or your ideas into the development stage. So as I said before, we need to define the target, market, product concept and benefits, positioning strategies, product features, attributes, performance requirements, and high-level specs. So very much, it's actually a co-work between both development teams as well as the marketing teams or the business team to really work the product through the whole commercialization process. The next few success factors is about organizing well and deciding well and do it early. Here we are talking about planning and resourcing the market launch early in the game. Now, studies have shown that with strong market launch, it actually underlies your success of the product's launch. And you make sure that you have quality launch, and you make sure that it's well planned and properly resourced and well executed. And in the process of funneling, all right, not tunneling, you have good decision points which you build into your process to make sure that only the good ideas or the good products concepts actually get funneled through into the development stage. Because if you don't do that, once it goes to the development stage, there's very little chance that you ever be killed or worse, it will cost you resource, large resource that you have already been put into the product development. And so therefore, what you need to have is actually a tough decision points, and you must be very brutal with your decisions and before as what you funnel through to the development, and this is important for product and product success. And then you look into the design of your cross-functional project teams. Now, another study has shown that good organizational design is also strongly linked to success. So strong project leaders is very important. Make sure you identify it first. And then you have a cross-functional team who are also accountable and who are dedicated and focused on the project from the beginning to the end. And then other success factors also include leveraging your strength and the plan to go global. Here we are talking about leveraging on your business strength and core competencies. So making sure that the products that you have developed are actually of a strong fit with your resource, your strengths, and the experience of the company. Right? So we're talking about in terms of marketing, distributions, selling technology, and operations. And how you do it is use this as scoring and rating approach, where you actually prioritize your new product projects. And whenever you develop your product, you must have an international orientation into your new product process. And here we're talking about aiming your products for international markets with international requirements. And you try to avoid what is called the design for local needs and adjust for exports later. So instead, you should go for global, all right, which is one product that fits the entire market, or you can go G-local, where you have one product that can be varied, okay, for different markets. And finally, we'll talk about the management role, okay, as a success factor. Management role is actually to support the process. And top management do not decide and do not get involved on a day-to-day basis, and do not micromanage from afar. Here, we'll try to avoid a HIPPO, which is the highest paid person opinion. So instead, top management should just provide the vision, the objective, and the strategy for the product innovations. And also the top management will support and commit to the process and make available the necessary resource and empower the project teams to do their work. So here lies the 10 critical success factors that is important, okay, that actually helps to ensure your chances of commercial success. And then just allow me to share with you some of our success stories from the MP Biomedical perspective, and how we have actually aligned with some of the critics from some of the success principles, as well as the key steps to commercialization. First, I want to share with you our fast prep and lysing matrix. Fast prep lysing matrix is actually fast prep is actually instruments which is used for the homogenization or lysis of cells or microbes to release the RNAs and DNAs, which is then funneled through for the DNA isolation and purification steps. And here, our product is actually well differentiated and superior in terms of being fast, powerful, and reliable. Okay, and we are actually one of the pioneers in the industry for benchmark for homogenization to also adapt to the customer demand for fast and convenient approach homogenizations. We have a complete range of adapters, tubes, and lysing matrix to handle different diverse types of samples. And we have citations, more citations to justify that, to attest to that. And then this product is also very much in line with our R&D focus, which is in the area of sample preparation market. So here we're talking about the critical success principle number 8. And then finally, making your products available worldwide. So we have 4,000 instruments deployed in the institution and research centers worldwide. And this is aligned with the critical success factor number 9. And then I wanted to share with you our it's well differentiated with superior products, and by that, what we do is that we have, for example, dengue, we have a rapid test that is uniquely testing for both antigen and antibodies. And then we do a lot of work here and effort here to ensure that our product is of high sensitivity and specificity in order to differentiate our products from the rest. And we are responding to the customer demand for fast and convenient approach, as in the point of care testing with this technology. And this is currently the trend now for diagnostics. And then we are also working with our customers to partnership with institutions and hospitals. So for example, our our COVID-19 antibodies, we have partnered with diagnostic hubs, the Diagnostic and Development Hub, DXD, and A-Star. And then this is also in line with our company's direction in terms of focusing on the development for rapid diagnosis of infectious disease. And finally, we have a worldwide distribution networks, okay, that is aligned with the success principle number 9. That just allow me to share with you how we have utilized the key steps in the commercialization in order to build our next product success. Okay, here we are talking about Spin Easy DNA extractions, which is a kit that is designed, developed for the isolation and purification of DNA after the homogenization steps. And this is an improvement product where we actually improve on our existing range of extraction kit, and also we also compare our products to the competitions. So as part of the idea screening stage, we consider what is the value improvement that we want to make. And then we do this by understanding that through global customer feedback on the current DNA kit, their challenges and their pain points. And then we also analyze the market potential, the competitors, and the profitability. And then we move into the concept testing and business case. This is where we look into product improvement plan. the timeline. Also, we have also developed product pipelines that will cater different kits for different sample types. And then we also look into business analysis, which involve cost, price, profits, and competitions. And then we prepare our production and launch plan accordingly. And then we go into development stage with product development and with in-house testing and early commercial trials. And then we also do planning for launch and production as discussed before. And then of course, we look into the resource commitment and the financial. We continue to track our finances as well. And then we move into testing and validation. This is where we do more, in-depth and wide customer sampling and feedback. And we continue and we run pilot production runs. And we also do testing and validation by our QA and QC colleagues, including batch testings. And then we go into final launch planning and channel readiness stage. And then we launch our products, and we launch it in phases. We go by region, and then we continue to look into sample feedbacks. We gather sample feedbacks, and we build case studies, and then we develop study publications, and then we continue to monitor our customer responses, and we adjust our product accordingly. And then, of course, we build efficacy in the process as well. So the product actually has been launched, and then same thing, we continue, which is the number one success factor, which is continue to seek differentiated and superior products. We have here a high yield and purity of our DNA from extractions, which is better than our existing product and also our competitor product as well. And then we listen to our customers' demand for better solutions, consistency in performance, who needs that to manage their challenging sample preparation. And then also we focus from the R&D point of view that is targeted at the sample preparation market. And then finally, we are leveraging a wide global sales distribution network. With that, I just want to share with you, some of the innovation and commercialization services, which are also in line with the commercial steps, key steps that we have just mentioned. We have teams looking into product development, that is the development of the diagnostic products as well as the licensed products, as I shared earlier. And then we have strategic sourcing, looking into the supplies of the raw materials, intermediates, buffers, and also do analytical and testings for certification purposes. And then to also look into scale up to full-scale productions. We have contract manufacturing services as well, working with the partners to develop products, using our platforms, and also the R&D, or also the life science as well. And then we also have recombinant protein productions, where we look in, if you need help with protein expressions, we can do that as well. And then we also have regulatory services, which look into CE registration, technical dossier compilation, and also helps with country or product registration, regional product registration. And finally, we have commercialization team that helps with the marketing collaterals, sales and distributions, and also as product training. And just to share with you, our facility is actually ISO 13485 certified and also registered with the US FDA. With that, I thank you for your attention, and also to RIC as well, for the opportunity to speak at your platform. So with that, I will go over to the Q&A stage, and just to let you know, for the Q&A stage, I've invited my colleagues to join me on this panel. They are first, Ms. Carol Lee, who is actually the head of the regulatory affairs, as well as the quality affairs. And then I also have Mr. Harris Ong, who is actually the product manager, as well as the marketing, who's in charge of product management as well as the marketing. So with that, I'll hand over back to RIC for the Q&A session.
Hi, thanks Beng Kuan for the informative talk. Okay, so there are some questions posted on Q&A, so let us address them. Okay, referring to the Q&A button. So Andy has a couple of questions. So he actually asked, he is experienced in research, but is lacking of market collaborator or real world use case. So for example, he do not have a direct connection with industrial partner. So what is efficient way to find such good market team member or the real world use case?
Well, like I said, I think networking is very important. So is many how I say prospects actually come to us. Actually also want to find out from us how is it possible for them to market their product or to, and here we have a network of distributors, as well as partners that can help to market the products. But of course, you first have to probably speak to prospective partners in this into your same area, but have capability for distributions and marketing. Maybe that's one way for you to check on how to market your products. So given that, my understanding is that you have a product already that is ready to market. Okay,
so then he also asked same kind of questions applicable to fundraising. So how about since we're on this topic, so maybe Beng Kuan, you can share with us what are some of the various models that people can actually build their business with MP Biomedicals?
Well, if talking about fundraising, I think in Singapore we probably have various opportunities, and I think A-Stars probably one of them is through our to the research funding route that you probably can go there and seek help for research funding or development funding as well. For MP Bio, really we don't really for so-called invest in such area, but we do what we call maybe partnering or even licensing. That probably will be a model that we are working with. And then you asked a question about any government agencies we can help. We can get help for startup. I think that maybe RSCs. If you're in life sciences or if you're in the medical front, I think medical device front or biotech front, maybe you can consult A-Stars for help on this area. Okay, let me just go down. There's another questions about. Sorry, Joycelyn, you want to answer that question? Yeah. Okay, so there's another question about what is the average time range to conduct a thorough upfront homework during the ideal sourcing and ideal screening. There isn't actually a time range, but it is what you call a process. I think as I shared earlier, the process is very much hinges on the market research that you need to do. So I think that's important, and also the process of how do you prioritize those ideas that come through, and which is the one that you will queue, which is the one that you will follow through. And this is really very much depending on what is, as I said, review some of the success principles, look through that and really understand what are your criteria that you want to set for your company, clearly define it, as a screening criteria for yourself, and then work through and prioritize them accordingly.
So Beng Kuan, there's another question from team. Is MP Bio one of the A-Star spin-out companies?
It's actually not. We are not. Yeah.
Yeah. Then there's a question from Jaslyn. He thanked you for the great talk, and what is the average time range to conduct?
I just answered that. Yeah, sorry.
That one is just answered. Okay, then for Sherry, do you always need a patent for the new products?
Okay, this it's not about whether you do always need, but it's more like, if you want to protect yourself from copies, I think there's many, how I say, if you don't protect your products, okay, there's very high chance that your product will be copied, and this is where you don't want to run into a legal battle, with your competitors in the future. So if you know that you have a very innovative product, that you want to protect, yes, by all means, do a patent. And also, if you have done branding exercise, yes, register it with as a trademark. However, if you're just a Me Too in the Me Too products, then of course there is no necessity for that, unless there are specific areas that you want to protect. But yes, that I hope that answers your questions. Sorry, I'm trying to. Okay, so there are 2 more questions, right? Okay.
So Arvin asked during the early ideation development stage, and how much focus should we put on standards and regulatory requirements? Then can we partner or transfer this to contract manufacturer?
Okay. I think it's good to understand the standard regulatory requirements early, so that you know what are your constraints, what are the things that you need to answer or respond to, or to meet in terms of requirement when you go into development stage. Let me give you an example. If you are in a highly regulated environment, then it's a certain constraint, or just certain guidelines or requirements that you need to follow, and it's very important to note that, so that when you go design it, into your, or integrate into your development phase, so that as you are developing your product, you're also responding to those regulatory requirements. This will help a more efficient and effective in terms of timelines, in terms of the approach as with the commercialization, so that you can respond to your regulatory questions or requirement early. Yeah, because many of the product developments actually forgot about this, and when they ask the regulatory agencies, and they tell them, they come back to them with a long list of requirements and questions, and they have to go back to their development stage and trying to satisfy those requirements. So things like that can happen. So be clear with the needs of from the regulatory sides early. Next question. Sorry, go ahead.
Should market validation or regulatory be an earlier consideration of product commercialization roadmap?
I think it's the same. Yeah, correct.
So let me see. Okay, so Tim asked, mass production of the instrument is always cheaper to outsource outside of Singapore. What do we keep inside Singapore and what to outsource? What are the underlying principles that guides such outsource or not decision?
I would be frank with you. Some of the supplies or the ingredients we actually obtain from our partners or suppliers outside Singapore. So like China and India, we do have do have an office in India and China, for example. So we do work with them. So I mean, yeah. That's how, and also our instruments are not manufactured in Singapore, to be frank. It's manufactured in India. So for example, but we do the necessary quality checks. We have supply agreement, we have quality agreement with them to make sure that the product that comes through, us and then to the customers, to the market, are actually of high quality. So that is what we do. What do we keep inside Singapore? I think we have to leverage on the high, the expertise, as well as the competency in terms of the technology side. Maybe those are the areas that we can keep inside Singapore. What are the underlying principles that guide such outsourcing? Okay, so I hope that answered the questions. In your opinion, is it preferred to have the Gerote, right, asked the question, in your opinion, is it preferred to have a product commercialized in a high technology niche market or low tech mass market? I think it's not about which is preferred. It's more about, as I speak to earlier, about your company's strengths and the business core practices, core competencies. So if your company is in the high tech environment, you actually have the expertise, okay, to basically develop the products. So then there's no reason why you should not operate in a high tech environment. Whether it's a niche market or a mass market, again, it depends what is the core competency of the company. If the focus is a very niche area, of technology, and then you have the products for it, by all means go for it. What you need to do here is basically in the market research process, you have to even be more detailed and really sniff out who are your target customers. Be very clear about that, because it's a niche market. So you don't want to be targeting the product en masse, and then you lose the focus. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, so based on your experience, right, perhaps you can share with us what do you think that a VC will look out for, venture capitalists, and how do I maximize our chances with their investments?
I think the VC's focus is very much ROI, right? Return on investments. So with that, be very careful. Of course, I won't say be careful, but I would say be clear about your working relationship with them. Very often companies that goes into a joint venture or working with the VCs, they run into problems of what I call the management control. Because sometimes VCs tends to influence the decisions of the development of the company as well. So I think this is not ideal. So this is I hope that should be cleared up. What is a working relationship beyond just ROI itself.
Okay, I see. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions. So
there is
Vincent
another question,
mentioned that I have a great product. So can I actually sell via MP Biomedicals?
Okay, so if you have a great product, this is where I think some prospects actually do come to us, asking for partnership with us, and wanted to work with us and to sell their product. I think this is where we can do it, but of course we'll go through the process, the commercialization process as well, where we will make sure that the product actually fits our company's core competencies as well. If we are not able, of course, it doesn't stop us from going into a new area. Of course, we could be a trend. So we can do it, but we will also do our own detailed analysis and to make sure that this product has a future, or for in terms of sustainability and profitability for both you and our company as well. So that is possible.
Okay, thanks for sharing. Is there any other questions from the floor? Okay, if not, we can end this session. So if anybody has any other questions that you thought of after this, feel free to drop us an email or reply to the post-webinar follow-up email, or you can also reach out to MP Biomedicals directly to Beng Kuan. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, Beng Kuan and your team, for joining us today. So we have enjoyable time. Thank you for informative talk.
Okay, thank you all for your participation.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, RIC, for your support. Bye.
Have a good day.
Bye.